I'm Kellie Murphy-Ringate, Fire Inspector and Public Educator for the Excelsior Fire District, coming to you from EFD Station 2. Welcome to First Responder TV, your local public safety source, featuring training exercises, safety tips, and much more. Here's what's coming up on First Responder TV. I'll head to the Minnetrista Police Department to talk with Police Chief Paul Falls in this edition of Meet the Chief. Chris Heitz, the 2016 Mound Firefighter of the Year, goes above and beyond to serve the community on making a difference. Joe Lugowski with Shorewood Public Works and Excelsior Fire District Firefighter gives us some important snowplow safety tips on Safety Source. Scam Alert will give you an update on scams that have been targeting citizens in the lake area. Joining me today is Paul Falls, the Police Chief of Minnetrista Police Department. Thanks for coming out today, Paul, and spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So let's start off by asking you, how long have you been the Police Chief for the Minnetrista Police Department?
I have been the chief since April of 2011. I started out my first year, I was the interim chief, and then in April of 2012 they made me the full-time chief. So it's been almost 6 years now.
So tell me a little bit about your journey to becoming a police officer.
I actually initially began college to become a paramedic, and during that time I joined the Minnetrista Police Reserves as a volunteer. I guess through my work as a reserve with the police department, I decided that I would rather be a police officer, and so I changed my course of study, and here I am.
Does the Minnetrista Police Department have a mission, like a mission statement?
Our mission statement is actually very, very simple. Our mission statement is fight crime and promote safety. And so while that might sound incredibly simple, it really does encompass everything that we do in public safety.
How many cities does the Minnetrista Police Department cover?
We cover 2 cities, the city of Minnetrista as well as the city of St. Bonifacius. Minnetrista essentially completely surrounds the city of St. Bonifacius.
Okay.
Minnetrista is 32 square miles and St. Bonifacius is 1 square mile. So we really treat them both together like one big city.
So Paul, you've been a police officer for 23 years. Can you tell me things that stand out in your career, things that you've done that are extra special?
In my opinion, this has been an incredibly rewarding career. As I mentioned earlier, I started out as a volunteer police reserve, and I have kind of worked my way up through the ranks as patrol officer, sergeant, lieutenant, interim chief, and now chief. And so I've seen a lot of things change over the years. Most notably, I think just being able to change and evolve with our communities as they've grown, and they have grown, especially in the past few years. That's been a very rewarding piece to my career, I think. Just being able to promote staff to supervisory positions. We've recently added a couple of positions that didn't exist in the past. In the last 5 years, we have experienced more change than this department has seen since its existence. And so for me, that's incredibly challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding. And so I would just like to be able to continue to meet staffing demands and be able to continue to provide a very high level of service that we have for all these years.
If you could talk to all the citizens and have them all in one big room and you wanted them to help your police department, what would you ask them to do?
We're only as effective as our citizens allow us to be, and so really it's a relationship. We're here to serve them, and so with that we need to have open communication, and I think we need to build good relationships. I think we have very good relationships with both of our communities that we serve currently, and that has served us very well. And I just ask that continue, especially in this day and age where there's a lot of challenges in law enforcement, and the culture has changed, and I think maybe community and public perceptions have changed, and so we just need to continue to communicate and work through those issues.
Paul, what type of issues do you deal with in the Minnetrista Police Department?
Well, certainly we deal with a lot of the same issues that most metro area agencies deal with, large and small, but specifically here we see a lot of theft issues, theft from vehicles, and a lot of this stuff is preventable. Don't leave valuables in your car, lock your car, things like that. So a lot of this is avoidable. And so my message would be to people, make sure that you're paying attention to these things. We also see a lot of traffic-related issues, accidents, speeding, distracted driving, drunk driving. Despite all the campaigns on drunk driving and distracted driving, we still see a lot of that going on. So We would certainly ask people, if you're going to drink, don't drive, get a ride. It's very simple to do these days with Uber and taxi cabs, friends, whatever. And distracted driving, we see an awful lot of that as well. And so distracted driving causes almost as many accidents, if not more, than drunk driving. So that's a big deal, and people tend to not think it's as big of a deal as drunk driving, but it is.
Trust between the police department and its citizens is important. Can you tell me how your police department does that with your citizens?
The trust of our citizens is really paramount to us being effective as a police department. And so that is incredibly important to me and to all of our staff. I think in light of many of the events going on around the country in the last year or two or so, there's a lot of maybe mistrust of law enforcement in general. And so I guess my perspective is that it's important to be transparent. It's important to communicate with the public. And it's important to be reflective of the needs of your community. And I think that really educating the public, a lot of times mistrust is really the result of not understanding how things work. And so, for example, it's not uncommon for me to get a call from someone who maybe is unhappy about an interaction they had. And once we get a chance to walk through the incident and what occurred and why it occurred the way it did, they're much more understanding of police operations, if you will.
So basically you're telling your citizens if something occurs and you're involved in it and you're upset about it and you don't understand, reach out to the police department and ask them, because you're happy to answer their questions.
Absolutely, absolutely. More times than not, and I'm very happy to say that we don't get a lot of complaints here, and I'm very proud of that. But if you have concerns or you don't understand something or you have questions, by all means, feel free to give me a call.
Are there any events coming up in your area?
Our biggest event is Trista Day, which is in May each year. That is a city event with a public safety focus. We'll have building tours, equipment tours, all kinds of displays, free hot dogs, lots of fun activities for the kids. And then as far as public safety, we have our Citizens Academy each year, and we typically hold that in the fall. We view it as public education. We love to interact with the public on this level because it's not us responding to a call. It's really people that are interested in what we do and why we do it, and they sign up for this class. And so these are people that really want to come here and learn about what we do. And so in this day and age, I think that's really important because there's a lot of misperception about police and maybe some of their practices. And so any opportunity we can get to be able to educate the public on why we do what we do and when maybe we do that is a good thing. And I would say that most of our participants leave here with a completely different perspective than they came with. And I think that's beneficial for everybody.
After some of the classes, what are the comments?
We get a number of comments regarding the firearms simulation system that we bring in and allow participants to go through. And that is really designed to address the shoot, don't shoot type scenarios. And so we let each of them run through several scenarios themselves. And it's a big computer screen with very realistic scenarios, and they get to use it's not a real gun, it looks real, but it interacts with the screen. And so it's a shoot, don't shoot scenario, and they get to decide whether or not, based on the information that they're seeing, whether they should use deadly force or less lethal force or no force. And so as a result of that, typically we get several people in each class that are just amazed at their inability to evaluate those scenarios and come up with a proper decision. And it becomes very, very apparent to them that police officers go through a vast amount of training over a very long course of time that helps them decide these things.
So let's end this by asking you, is there something about you that nobody knows, that not necessarily even police related, that you would like to share with people?
I don't know how many people know, but I actually grew up in the Mound area. I attended the Hilltop Primary School as well as Mount Westonka High School. I graduated from there in 1987. So I've lived my whole life in this area. I love Lake Minnetonka. I grew up on the lake. I spent a lot of time on the lake, fishing, swimming, and I just love outdoor activities.
Well, thanks so much for joining us and taking your time out of your very busy day to spend it with us.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Welcome back to First Responder TV. We'd like to spotlight a member of the community that goes above and beyond in our segment, Making a Difference. This month, it's 2016 Mound Firefighter of the Year, Chris Heitz.
It'll be 4 years in March that I've been here, and I grew up around it with my uncle being on. It's always been something I wanted to do. I'm just honored beyond anything that my fellow firefighters think that highly of me. The Mound Fire Department is great. I like the structure, I like the chain of command type thing. I've always wanted to do that. It's fun and giving back to the community. It's respect for where you live. It's make things better where you live. It gives you a sense of pride. The community loves us, I believe. I mean, you can tell with the turnouts that we have on Fish Fry. I think everybody enjoys us, respects us. All the guys here have the mentality of going above and beyond. To me, it's an adrenaline rush going into a house fire, you know, making somebody's life better on a medical call, just giving somebody ease of mind. Nobody likes to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, but we still do it. Great group of guys up here. Everybody's got a positive attitude. It's fun. I mean, I can't stress that enough. It's really fun. It's got stress at times, but it's great.
Your best chance to stay safe after a snowstorm is to know the special rules of the road. Joe Lugowski from Shorewood Public Works and Excelsior Fire District Firefighter gives us some important snowplow safety tips on Safety Source.
Some of the issues are people will drive too close and won't give you the room there, or they won't pull off to the side a little bit to let you drive by. When people don't move over, our blade might be in the other lane of traffic a little bit, so it could be where it's a hazard to oncoming traffic. So as you can see, as we're approaching traffic, traffic doesn't necessarily like to stop. If they're coming towards me, pull off as far as they can without getting stuck and just stop so I know I can go by. We probably drive around 15 to 20 miles an hour. If we drive faster than that, the snow is going to be thrown a great distance. It'll take off the mailboxes. Stay far behind and give us room to do our job, make sure that we see you. Blind spots would be, well, directly behind us. If you follow too close, we can't see behind us. I would say that to give yourself about 5 car lengths so you're back in case we have to stop. When we have a lot of snowfall, we'll go out and we'll push the snow from the curb line back to make room for more. And when kids build their snow forts out by the corners of the driveway where there's a lot of snow, those children could be buried very easily and not even know it if you don't stop. Leaving your basketball hoops at the road edge that might get damaged, or your boats that the trailer tongue might be out encroaching the roadway. And if we come by to push the snow back or accidentally be over too far, we could damage that. 107 to 105, I'm done with my end. Do you need any help over there? We have spinners on the back of our trucks that throw out de-icing material, and sometimes people encroach, so when you turn that on, you might get blasted. The streets are cleared a lot better than what they used to be years ago with the equipment we have nowadays. So people tend to drive a lot faster, thinking that the roads are that much safer. The salt doesn't activate at a very cold temperature. So even though it's down, it might not be melting or doing the job it has. You may slip or slide through the intersection. Especially when you're clearing an intersection, people don't realize you're gonna drive forward, back up, or plowing a cul-de-sac. It's multiple moves. You can't see when you're close. You can't see the vehicle behind you, and you just need to give us room to do our job.
Welcome back to First Responder TV. It's time for Scam Alert. This segment alerts the public on scams that have been reported to local police departments.
The Minnesota Department of Public Safety reports this scam involving someone making a fake call to a grandparent and pretending to be in trouble. Typically in the scam, the caller will claim they need funds wired immediately to cover the costs of a vehicle crash, an arrest, or medical needs. The caller also urges the grandparent not to tell their parents. The timing of spring break travel adds legitimacy to the calls, with many fake calls claiming to be from popular student destinations such as Mexico and Jamaica. If you receive a call like this, verify the caller's identity and don't supply names or other information. Ask something that only the grandchild would know to prove that it really is your grandchild. Or, call another family member and confirm your grandchild is on vacation. Resist the pressure to act quickly. Scammers depend on immediacy and will emotionally leverage love and embarrassment to persuade their targets to wire funds quickly. If you think you have been a victim of a scam, please contact your local police department. South Lake Minnetonka Police Department is warning about a tree trimmer scam in the area. In the last month, tree trimmers have been going door to door, collecting cash, and then not completing the job. Similar incidents have also been reported in Eden Prairie and Bloomington. These individuals knock on the doors of homes, tell the homeowner they notice trees that need trimming in their yard, and ask them for cash up front. They also state that they have worked on trees in other yards in the neighborhood. They do some work on the trees, but in the process often damage the roof, tree, or both. Then they collect the cash, work a bit more, and tell the homeowner they'll be back the next day to finish the job and clean up the mess. However, they never return, and the homeowners are left with a mess and no way to follow up, as the phone number given by the tree trimmers is fake. Be wary of door-to-door companies. Most reputable companies don't do business this way. Get multiple quotes, ask for references, and don't pay before the work is done. Obtain the company's name, phone number, and ask to see registration and insurance documents. If the company is not insured and an accident occurs on your property, you may be financially liable. If you suspect there are tree trimmers in your neighborhood who are scamming your neighbors, call 911 and provide as much information as possible to the dispatcher, including license plate numbers and descriptions of people and vehicles. Minnesota senior citizens are being targeted by Social Security scams. Fraudulent operators pretend to be calling about Social Security, but their purpose is to trick seniors into disclosing their private financial information. Disclosing such information can lead to identity theft or unauthorized withdrawals from a person's bank account. The callers claim that new Social Security benefit cards are being issued or that the beneficiary's file must be updated. They'll ask the citizen to verify or provide their personal banking information. The scammers may be aggressive by calling again and again in an attempt to wear the victim down. In some cases, the scammers may have some personal information about the citizen, such as their name or address, which they'll use to try and make the call seem legitimate. In other cases, the callers claim that they can improve your benefits. Do not believe these claims. If you are a Social Security beneficiary, the Social Security Administration will not call you and ask you to disclose financial information to get a new card. If you receive such a call, you should report it directly to the Social Security Administration by calling 800-772-1213.
Thanks for watching First Responder TV, your local public safety source. If you have an idea for a segment, an upcoming public safety or fire prevention event, please let us know. This is Kellie Murphy-Ringate giving you information you can use, share, and to live by. See you next time.